So it's day 6 after I came out as an atheist to my fundamentalist Christian family. And with the family that I lived with when I was young, my 2 siblings and my parents, not much has changed. I told my sister that I lived with, she's 6 years older than me, she knew, I want to say May or June. I forget when. But my brother and parents haven't responded, and I guess the term is ghosted, so not much going on there. Kind of gotten to the point where I no longer care. They really are emotionally disengaged people. My own father called my coming out text resembling a newspaper ad. And he told my sister that my mother had cried for days. My family makes everything about themselves. And they create their own drama to play the victim. So my family cares more about themselves than they do about making sure that a vulnerable, courageous person is emotionally and physically okay after revealing something that's very sensitive. I kind of knew that they would do that. I mean, at any time there was a major change in my family's lives, either by someone getting married, moving across the country, any time my other siblings became a liberal Christian or just decided they weren't really going to do the religious thing. They never really came out as atheists, but my brother, who's 12 years older than me, he just stopped being religious. My parents, especially my mother, hasn't reacted very well, unless you call a meltdown, not talking for 10 years and trying to turn me against him, a positive outcome, then this is just repetitive behavior. I kind of knew that they would just do nothing. Because I think it's kind of the thing where if they ignore the elephant in the room, they think it will go away. And it's pretty childish, immature. But I don't really care. I'm kind of used to growing up in a family that are emotionally retarded. I mean, they have no problem congratulating somebody when they're engaged, get married, they send condolences when somebody dies. They have no problem texting about parties and events. But the one time I'm honest and try to talk about things that are important to me, that's the time when they don't know what to say? Yeah, BS. Everyone knows what to say. When someone's upset, when they come out, when they're unhappy, people know what to say. They just don't care. And for those who've come out and faced similar or, the exact same thing, you know that it's a process you just have to work through. And for the past year, I've been mourning my family. Yes, my family is still alive, and people would say, then why are you mourning them? Well, my therapist says when you come to the realization that your family, your parents, your siblings will never be what you deserve, and by that I mean compassionate, empathizing, kind, supportive, being a cheerleader, just demonstrating either by words or actions that they genuinely care about you and want what's best for you. If your family I mean, it's not that they can't, they don't want to. Because everybody can be what they're supposed to be. They don't want to be. They've made choices that make being a decent human being impossible. They've made choices that isolate people, and then they blame them for the problem. At the end of the day, if your family isn't what you need them to be, what you deserve, what everyone deserves, you have to mourn the lack of what you deserve. Because every child deserves a caring parent who wants what's best for them, who loves them unconditionally, who doesn't ghost them when they say something that they don't agree with. I've gone my whole childhood and a young adulthood where if I was upset in pain, I wouldn't even show it to my family because they would do nothing. It's kind of like, let's say I'm at a funeral and I'm upset and visibly upset, crying. My parents would not hug me. They wouldn't even verbally acknowledge I'm upset. They would say, whenever you're done, we'll leave, and then just walk away. That's the kind of parents I have. So I've been mourning everyone in my family because I know that they'll never be what they should be. It's not that they can't, it's that they won't. They won't make the choices that make them decent. They avoid situations that normal people would resolve. It's like being freezed out of a positive conversation. And I wouldn't say each day that passes makes it easier, but the difference with the 31-year-old me and the 15-year-old me is that the 15-year-old me would take it and come back around for more because they didn't know what narcissistic behavior is. Narcissistic behavior is creating a problem where somebody has to come out in order to have sanity, individuality, and to feel like they own their own body. And then, after my parents create the environment which makes you want to come out, they blame and abandon you and say that you're the one who caused the problem, which is gaslighting. That's how my family is. Luckily, a few days ago, my oldest brother, who's 15 years older, his wife, my sister-in-law, reached out to me by text, making sure that I'm okay. A person I have never lived with, who's married to a brother that left the state, left my parents' home before I was 6 years old, responded to me. Someone I've only seen probably every 5 years at Christmas, whom I haven't seen since August of 2018, when my brother, who's the pastor, who's also ghosted me, got married in Michigan. We have not seen each other face to face since 2018. But they still reached out. And they have 5 kids, anywhere from 5 to 15. And they found the time to reach out. My retired parents didn't. And they live 5 miles away. And they did not reach out. While my family I haven't seen in person for 7 years, whom I haven't lived with for 25 years, who lives in Texas, reached out to me. It's ironic that the people who claim to love me unconditionally don't. And just because my parents have texted me about various things, like it snowed today, I'm going shopping, they're still not talking about what's going on with me. You can be ghosted by somebody avoiding an entire topic. Even if I give my parents some hints about it in conversation, they won't bring it up. They won't even acknowledge that anything happened. That's ghosting. Ghosting isn't always complete radio silence. It can also be selective ghosting. I honestly believe if I brought up the conversation about coming out, they would probably change the subject or just say nothing. And my therapist told me how people react consistently, how they act or the lack of what they do says more about them than their words ever can. And if your parents ghost you for being honest, they don't love you in a healthy way. They don't. They only love you and treat you with respect and have open communication when it's not threatening to them. And they've created the environment that causes them to view individualism as a threat. So I have to walk down the road of coming out alone. And even though a sibling has reached out to me, it's not the same thing as having the parent who carried you for 9 months, birthed you, named you, who hasn't said anything. It's not the same. Even though having one sibling, be nice to me is great, it's not the same thing as your biological mother and, supporting you. It's just not the same thing. And I've decided that I would rather have few to nobody in my life that conditionally loves me and ghosts me for just being myself. I would rather be alone than go to holidays and spend holidays with people like that. And luckily, I'm a very introverted person where I'm okay with being alone. I think if your personality is more extrovert, where you thrive and enjoy being around family, it's going to hurt a lot more than if you're someone like me who really has never had a healthy relationship where you don't have emotional walls keeping out people. I don't feel like I'm losing as much as people who are really in the thick of their family. I've never had a healthy, transparent relationship with my parents. The interests and things I enjoy doing are just, they're just not compatible with the extremity of how my parents believe. But see, I wouldn't have to like things if I had emotional support systems. I think I've liked Harry Potter for so long because it was an escape from being emotionally neglected as a child. And it's hard to be anything but what I've been for so long. And that person, it doesn't exist. My parents are so toxic I had to create a version of myself that they saw, that would that they would accept, because I didn't want to have a confrontation, and I wasn't financially and physically and legally separate from them. But the level of toxicity that's required to make someone of any age that you're related to hide who they are, live a lie, that's some high level toxic behavior. And we just have to move forward and realize that family isn't about blood. It's about consistent green flag behavior. And if somebody blames you for being who you are, and that they blame you for their inability to accept who you are, you're better off without them. And that's the choice that's right for me. I'm not going to cut my family entirely out of my life, because if I do that, I will lose my inheritance. But I don't want a relationship with my parents, and I'm not going to fake one. I will be physically there at holidays. Well, most holidays. I'm going to be there probably for Easter, 4th of July, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. That's 4 holidays. But I'm not going to fake having a relationship with people I can't stand. And it's not because of how they dress, what beliefs they have. It's because they chose their beliefs and their God over a human being that they claim, oh, we love you the way you are. Bullshit.